Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Bryan, Mr. Betcher, and Miss Berlin for Breaking Down Security.
What up?
Yay!
Yay! We're recording on Memorial Day. I finally figured it out. I used to get Memorial Day and Labor Day confused. I couldn't remember which one was which.
Me too.
Memorial, May. Done.
Oh,
Done.
that works.
Right. I know, right? Yeah.
That works.
I always got it mixed up because I was like, oh, Labor Day, whichever one's in May, whatever. So,
Yeah, but
But what
Veterans
month
Day?
starts with an L?
there are none.
Oh.
Unless you've got...
Well, then how do you remember Labor Day?
I remember that it's not the one in May.
Yeah.
Right. It's a not condition in this case. Right. So, yeah. It's weird the things you figure out after a while. Like when I was teaching my daughter left and right, which one makes an L? This is left because it makes an L. This one's right.
Yeah, but you could go like this.
Well, that's not
This doesn't help anybody that's listening, right?
I know. Theater of the mind. We're all holding our index fingers and our thumbs at 90-degree angles. The thumbs are supposed to point at one another. So the one that makes an L...
that's what it is.
One that makes an L is left, and one that does not is backwards L, and that's right. So, but yeah, that was...
For Veterans Day, you could do November, and that November has a V in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it the only month that has a V?
Yes. Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Ta-da!
Right.
Now we have two.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I don't forget Veterans Day because I have to go
Because
to
you're a veteran.
I have to go to the Veterans Day assemblies at my daughter's school every year. So.
Did you see the news of my oldest? He got sworn into the Marines the other day.
Very nice. Semper Fi. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he's doing early entry. So he took his ASVAB and he took his had his physical done and like swore in, and then he'll have another year of high school, and then he'll get shipped off.
Yeah, I did the delayed entry program when I was in the Navy and in high school. I sworn in March of '97, and then got out in June, and then spent another 3 months waiting for them to, send me to boot camp in November. So I got to enjoy November, December, and January in lovely Chicago, Illinois, or Great Mistakes, Illinois. It was so much fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, all missed. So that was fun.
Yeah, he'll go in August, July or August.
Ooh, okay. Does he know where he's going to be? San Diego or South Padre?
South Padre, yeah.
South Padre, yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Way closer to that side of the coast.
August in San Padre Island. It's going to be hot as balls. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like 90 degrees, 100% humidity.
Oh, sweet Lord. You almost wish for a hurricane. That way it'll at least cool things off.
Right.
Yeah. So, it gets, 30 C? Yeah, 30 C or 90 degrees down there. So somebody actually hit me up on DM on Twitter there. They're like, you always put the Celsius and the Fahrenheit together. You don't even, I bet you have to look that up on the internet. I'm like, no, I was a weather observer. I had to encode our observations when we took weather observations in the international standard of Celsius. So, I figure all these things
In
out.
your face, random guy.
That's right, random dude. Yeah, it's like, 68 Fahrenheit's 20 C, 82 Fahrenheit's 28. That's a nice mnemonic. 82 Fahrenheit is 28 Celsius. So you just flip the numbers, So, it gets a little different when you get down to negative numbers, but I never served in a place that was in negative numbers in the Navy. I was always in a somewhat tropical or, everywhere was in the, mid-20s C, if you will.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Choose your rate, choose your fate. Anyway, happy to hear that your son's going to the Marines. What job did he pick? What's his MOS?
He has not picked yet, and he really has absolutely no idea. I will just be happy if he doesn't do infantry.
I was going to say, no bullet sponge. Yeah, if you can get something technical, do it. Something with computers or satellites or...
has no interest in computers or technology at all. So I'm hoping he at least becomes some kind of mechanic so he can work on my car.
Aircraft mechanic or something, yeah.
Yeah, that's what my brother does, is communication navigation.
Oh, that's cool.
On F-18s.
Right on.
Except now he's a recruiter.
Oh,
so my brother's actually my son's recruiter, which was cool.
Trained to lie.
Oh yeah.
Make them. It's like used car salesmen for the military,
Oh, definitely.
Any way to make a deal. So anyway, all right. So Ms. Berlin's back this week. Last week she went to a Garth Brooks concert, left us hanging, but that's okay. I told her I would have left us hanging for Garth Brooks too, because I love him. He's awesome. So let me see. Oh,
we should get him on the podcast.
He's too big. Yeah, I don't think we could probably get him. I don't think that would work. So
I was driving home thinking like, man, I wonder how easy it would be to like social engineer your way into the back of a concert. Because like there's the one meme floating around where, some dude edited Wikipedia's page to say like he was related to the band or whatever, right? And got back.
I heard that, yes.
I wonder how easy it would be.
Yeah, I'm Brian Brooks. See my name tag? It says I'm Brian Brooks. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, his name isn't Brooks. It's his. I think it's Chris Gaines. But yeah, somebody would hopefully be smart enough to figure that out. So anyway, Mr. Betcher, how's the week been for you with everything?
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
Working. Yep. I have a day job. So and then a night job. And then kids and all that stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But it's fun.
Yep. What'd y'all do this weekend for the holiday, for the Memorial Day holiday?
I went to my sister's party. She has a party every year at her place, sort of like an outdoor picnicky type thing at her house.
Uh-huh.
So went there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Berlin had a party too.
I did a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
I had like 30 people over my house, and then I put up a pool and I took down a pool and I put up another pool.
Oh my goodness.
And then
the first one wasn't big enough for 30.
It had a hole in it and I didn't realize. Or it had a couple holes in it and I didn't realize until I had already put it up. So now we have a bigger pool and it's new. And I kayaked today and got burnt. Did some mental health hacker stuff.
Got out and got some vitamin D, and that helps. Getting some sun and some vitamin D is good for you. So yeah. Yep. I went camping at least Friday night to Saturday. We beta tested the site we are using for our conference, which is happening in August. So we picked up Bay 19. I posted some pictures to our InfoSec Campout Twitter, which you can get to at InfoSec Campout, all one word. So we tested that out. We would have stayed till Saturday, but it was raining fairly hard and for a fairly long time. And, because we're only about 45 minutes from the house, we decided to just pack it in like good roughing it people do. But yeah, so hopefully in August it will be less rainy, and I'm going to buy some more rain flies, and I made sure that we waterproofed the canopy that I have, so that way if it does happen to rain, we'll still be able to, bivouac under that and stay somewhat dry. So
I do feel a little bad because I did tell you like that was the weekend that I had free in August.
Yeah.
And that's what you picked, and then now I can't go.
That's okay. That's all right. There's always hopefully next year, maybe?
Yeah.
So.
No, I can't go. There's a wedding I have to go to.
Oh, I see.
These damn people getting married.
Oh, well, should tell them, not to do that.
It's a trap.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it.
Yep.
You should tweet that out. If you have a day that you're going somewhere, just say, okay, nobody get married on this day. Put that out there.
Yep. I have stuff to do.
If something comes up,
you just need to wait until next year.
Right.
Yeah. If something comes up where they're inviting you to something, say, look, I put this out there. I was first.
That's right.
You got it. You set a date after me.
Dibs.
So,
Yep.
I don't care if you want me the maid of honor. Right? Sorry.
Well, I don't.
No, I charge
You're
for
going to
that.
have to reschedule.
I charge.
Honestly don't think, Mr. Betcher, you're going to be asked to be maid of honor. I'd say that
Never know.
I'd say that ship has already sailed a little bit. Maybe matron of honor, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to be a little vulnerable this week because I nearly got phished. and I wanted to tell people about it. I know.
Oh,
I thought we weren't supposed to get fished.
He said, oh, God, that hurts so bad. Yes, I know. InfoSec people are not supposed to be phished because by nature we're immune to that kind of stuff with our
we don't mess up.
With our +5 Vorpal inboxes, save versus death or whatever.
Yep.
But I did.
If you get phished, you have to quit your job because you're no longer InfoSec material.
What's okay?
Right.
I'm a project manager now, so I'm not doing InfoSec. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
There.
So I'm a project manager.
That's why you got phished.
Right.
That's why.
That's right.
It's like
That's right.
I'm a paladin. I fell from grace, so now I have to,
Yes.
oh, that sucks. Now I have to tone for being phished. Jesus.
Sorry, we now have to switch you to a Chromebook.
It's
No more OS for you.
That's so cold. God's all right. I got a story. All right. So I'm sitting there, and what time was that? I got the email here, 11 o'clock on Wednesday, the 22nd. And I'm sitting there just doing my thing, writing up reports and stuff, and I get an email from my boss, Frank, who probably will be listening to this. Hey Frank, it says, "Do you have a moment? I need you to complete a task for me. Please reply my email to confirm I am in a meeting." That is exactly how it was written, and I was like, sounds a little odd, but Frank, English isn't his strong point. I love you, Frank. I'm sorry. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Okay. And I replied back and I said, okay, what is it? Because I was like, oh, he needs something. He needs something. And I said, okay, what is it? And I replied and I'm like, I should probably go look and see what the email address is. And it's from cmd@cov.net. And I was like, well, he is working at home, and I don't know what his ISP is, so it could be, from him. And I was like, well, wait, I could just, hit him on our internal chat because he's on that, being, the CEO or whatever. And I hit him up on chat, and I was like, hey, is this email from you? Did you send this email? And while I was waiting for him to reply, I got another email back from Frank. I'm using quotey fingers right now. Frank. And it says, I want you to get some gift cards available. We have some clients. We would like to give some as gifts. Let me know if it is possible for you to make arrangements for the gift cards so I can tell you which product we would need and what denomination they would be. Kindly confirm this to me now. Thank you. When I read that, I was like, oh, shit. Oh, God.
But all you did was reply to the email.
I did, yeah. And I was not in a position to send wire transfers to China and not let anybody know.
Right.
But the minute I got this email, I was like, oh, son of a bitch. And so I forwarded it to our COO and the IT guy, and I was like, yep, I got phished. And Mason, of course, our IT guy, he's like, ha, 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 they almost got you. And I was like, ugh. So, yeah. And that...
Not really. I mean, you were far from being had.
Right. I did double check and I did verify outside independent, independent channels, which is what you don't hear a lot of people who've been whaled in this case, or when they send, messages, they don't follow up to confirm of whether or not they actually are actually who they say they are.
Right.
And I thought maybe Frank was, accidentally had the wrong emails client open and he had sent it from his private email, which is entirely possible. So that's why I confirmed with the internal chat system that we have. And plus I was also not in any way, shape, or form able to get gift cards for clients to be given as gifts.
You could use your own personal card and then get reimbursed.
That is true. That is true. Of course, if I'd went down and told my boss, "Hey, I'm just going to go to the gas station and get some gift cards for Frank. Let me know if you guys need anything," because he emailed me and said that, I'd probably been tarred and feathered and thrown out of the company. So so one of the things after I sent the fish to them, Chad, our COO, he says, hey, send me the headers, the email. And I was like, oh, okay. So I sent him the headers, and where is that spearfish? Yeah, the spear. Yeah, so it came from, anyway, we looked it up, and SPF is set. it come from mailhostbox.com. So, SPF records are set up properly. DMARC, DKIM, it was being used through, looks like Microsoft Office 365. Forefront anti-spam came up as okay. One of the only thing that tipped us off that it was bad was that the domain had been only registered 2 weeks ago. And
so what was the domain? I thought it was an ATT.
It was cove, COVATT.net.
Oh, so okay. All one word.
And I didn't know if it was, his ISP out there was just another ATT, like Covington AT&T or, coveredarea.att.net or whatever. Yeah. So I had just assumed that perhaps maybe it was his ISP. So, we did a who is on the domain, found out that it had been registered 2 weeks previous for whatever reason. And we automatically set to block anything from covatt.net in the future. And I was talking to everybody in the office, and I was like, well, how can we stop these things from happening again? Is there a way to filter based on how new or how old the domain is? It's a good, security by obscurity thing. If somebody just creates a domain and then tries to start sending email, it would be blocked because it's only 24 hours old. So, Ms. Berlin,
that's an awful quick time to get a email server up and running anyway.
Well, to be fair, I got G Suite set up with a domain, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, and whatever Google has for domain trust in 3 hours.
Right, but did you register the domain the same day?
I did.
Oh.
You
should not send email then right away.
We used GoDaddy, and it was like, you're going to be using Google G Suite. So, when you set up your G Suite account, it's like, oh, you need to point this IP address from, Google or from Google to GoDaddy. And it's like, once you do that, hit refresh. And once I hit refresh, Google went out and checked GoDaddy, and boom, I automatically had DMARC and SPF and all that stuff set up. So it was a fairly easy deal. So before we did the show, I was asking Ms. Berlin about this, and apparently somebody has already thought of this, how to block new domain names. You said, who was it? Johannes Solrich?
I've been, I don't know, about talking about this or hearing about it or whatever for years.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to find what other people do because I've not had to implement DNS in for forever. Mm-hmm. And I guess, so there's a post from like 5 years ago on SANS,
right.
ISC, asking if people block new domain names, and reading through all the replies and everything, it looks like several different options are out there. Like OpenDNS has now that Cisco owns them, there's this thing that they started doing in 2017 that they'll filter newly seen or newly created domains out for in your DNS sinkhole.
Right.
And they add that into like all their other threat lists and all that kind of stuff. And then other people were mentioning how the unknown category in web filters, you can turn it so it blocks unknown, but I could see that being potentially a lot of false positives.
Right.
Right.
So, Mr. Betcher, what do y'all do at your office to, protect against things like this? Do you have any kind of filters in place for newly created domains?
No, we didn't when we worked at the other place that was smaller. But now that I work at the bigger place, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a totally different company team area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
you'll need to turn in your InfoSec card, though.
I'll mail it over. Look, it was during the middle of the week, and I was about to go to lunch.
I'm kidding.
Hurts
Anybody could fall for those things.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but the important thing is you guys had checks and balances. You actually emailed through another method or chat in this case.
Right.
So yeah. Always do that if it's a little bit suspicious. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to know what other people do, because like you can't just you can't who is every time you need a DNS query, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it being difficult.
Well,
A solution like OpenDNS is a great option.
Yeah, because they're just going to have like all DNS cached anyways, right? So once, you know, something new hits, they can I would imagine figure it out with way less queries than the average person.
Yep.
I wonder if Quad 9 does any kind of filtering like that.
Who's that?
That's a 9.9.9.9.
Oh.
For your DNS, which actually provides security as well.
Oh.
So if you use them as your DNS provider, let's see. I'm looking it up now.
Well, they got cyber in their is one of their partners, Global Cyber Alliance. So there you go.
One time I accidentally set them up in our lab, and this malware just wasn't working. So figured out what it was, and we changed it back to Google, and then it did work.
Oh.
So yeah.
So they blocked they blocked some kind of malware then.
Yes, they did block the download of a certain malware.
Quad 9's not a sponsor of the show. That's just
unfortunately, yeah. We could call them up.
Yeah, but so apparently they search queries using 9999. They check the cache and return. If a result is found, step 3, they check threat list, match found, then return block reply, example names.net server. Okay, so they actually have kind of a middleware kind of thing that will do the presumably the who is or whatever, looking at safe sites or sites known to include malware or other threats. So they must employ some kind of threat intelligence feeds or something that coming from specific IP addresses or specific domain names. So interesting.
Exactly.
Okay. So here's one question that I had, and somebody told me that it was far too aggressive. Filter time for domains. So if we set it to filter for 2 weeks, that would probably be good. I suggested 6 months, but I've been told that I'm crazy. Why not?
I didn't say crazy.
You did. You said, Bryan, you're crazy.
It's aggressive. It's aggressive.
Okay.
I don't. How long do you think spammers wait after they register a domain to use it?
Well, if they're doing it for nefarious purposes, I would assume that if the smart ones, they probably wait a little while to kind of gain some reputation, right. Or but how long?
I know, like pen testers will, just keep a rolling registration. That way, they can use the older ones, and they're not attacking from a newly registered domain. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Set it long enough to get the skitties out of the way, maybe 2 weeks, something like that.
Okay. Okay, 6 months is a little long. I guess you'd be worried about it after 6 months actually blocking legitimate traffic, especially if would it affect IP addresses as well? Like if somebody's IP address changed, would it affect it in the it would just be the domain name? Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Because if let's say you had bob.com and bob.com was 1.2.3.4 and then all of a sudden it changed to 2.3.4.5, would that make a difference?
Like if they don't back down their TLL before they change their IP address, like you could have the old lookup.
But that's a different problem, right?
That's something different.
Okay. All right. So, if you're a blue team person out there, you might want to investigate some kind of filter time on your domains. It would help get rid of, at least some of this, the low level folks or the folks who are just, chomping at the bit to be able to do that. Or if they've set up some kind of maybe domain that kind of looks like yours, and they want to use it to, try to get your people like email engagements for spearfish or something. So,
so we have it on our list for the company I work for, both of those things, the lookalike alert, to actually, whatever algorithm we're going to create to alert on stuff that's close. And then the new domains is the other one.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
It's later this year, next year, I don't know. Everything goes super slow.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other last thoughts or questions before we move along on the on this? I want to go down to the bleeping computer thing because I found that one quite interesting. We can always talk about the breach one later, but so
Sure.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So we got some news, a little bit of news, something I found interesting. This was on my Feedly bookmarks under, breaches, or I think I have it looking for like fraud or something. But so the American Registry for Internet Numbers, so the one that, doles out all the IPv4 numbers back in the day, discovered a fraud scheme in late 2018 in which 750,000 IPv4 addresses were fraudulently obtained. And apparently they put street values on these things like drugs, anywhere between, it's very interesting numbers, 9.85 million to almost $14.4 million. They have really specific numbers here.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets down to the
tens
round
of
it to the
dollars.
nearest $10.
Yeah. $9,850,880 US or $14,397,440 US.
How do you put a price on an IP address?
I don't know.
Think like, oh, this one's easy to remember, so it's worth more?
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like all twos, like that IP address is worth the most.
Yeah. Says that I'm not exactly sure how. I looked at the list. They have some of the address lists down at the middle of this document. A lot of 8/18s, /19s, and /20s, which are not small, but they're not large either. You've got like a grouping of 16,000 IP addresses. The interesting thing was some of these companies that I looked up, one's called Oppobox, the other one's called Border Technology, Contina, Virtuoso. They're all like data centers and colos. For the most part, or as a service provider. So it's like, you can run your services in the cloud here or whatever. I found it interesting that I wondered if it was easy enough to fraud them because they're so used to having a bunch of, they're always doing these turnovers of IP addresses or something, it's like, this company's got this address or whatever. And it's like all of a sudden, oh, I need to sell it, or I need to trade over to this colo. I was just trying to figure out why it was so easy to take these, 750,000 IP addresses and move them around.
I don't know.
Yeah. So they're saying the two accused parties created and utilized something called channel partners, which are resellers basically, which purported to consist of several individual businesses, all of whom acquired the right to IP addresses from ARIN, A-R-I-N. They allegedly used multiple deceptive websites and false aliases, posing as employees on behalf of 11 different companies or shell companies or fake companies to do this frauding. So, wow. So the IP addresses had been transferred from bona fide purchasers out of the ARIN region, but it did not go after recipients of those completed transactions. Thank you, next door neighbor.
Wow, a lot of these subnets are /18s, which is almost 16,000 addresses apiece.
Yeah, 16,384 according to the list that was here. So there must have been some social engineering going on. Hey, I am legit U.S. businessman. Please to be giving me your IP addresses. Something like that. I mean, oh yeah, sure, yeah. You look like you're legit. We'll just go ahead and give those to you. Because one of the reasons I was asking about the email thing was, could these IP addresses then be used to do nefarious stuff? And it looks like it's coming from company with legit IP range, or it's coming from bob.com, we should allow them in. So or allow you to get around malware filters. I was kind of thinking, Mr. Betcher, you could answer that. Would that allow you to get around malware filters?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so so we do check who is, right? So if who is, which queries Aaron's database,
right,
and others, right? There's Lacnic and I forgot the others.
Apnic,
But
Rightnic.
Yep.
Apnic, yeah. Afrinic does the African region.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. So the who is queries goes out there and finds out based on the IP which one of those providers, be it Aaron or Afrinic or whatever, and then it query and it asks them, okay, who owns this IP address? And if it's like Amazon, okay, that's one thing.
Right.
But if it's some free shady hosting provider company thing, you're like, oh, okay, this could be fishy.
Right.
Right.
Well, my thing is, what if
Shopify owns it or something?
Yeah. Well, my thing was, what if the colos owned these IP addresses and they were just selling them off to companies, or they sell them to company A, and then company A, who's quotey fingers, who's really the bad guy, says, hey, I want to take my IP address that you gave me and move it away. And they're like, okay, yeah, because, we trust you because you're company A. I was just wondering how they were trying to, thief that IP address and what they were doing with it once they had access to it. I'm just checking to see if there's
if it looks like you're a legit company, then people are less likely, and I'm sure some of the threat intels are less likely to flag it.
Right.
But if you stole that IP or bought it in this manner, your name wouldn't even show up in the database. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to Aaron's actual website, it says a company in South Carolina obtained and utilized 11 companies across the United States, intentionally creating false aliases purporting to be officers of those companies. So either they're using 11 legit companies and they're saying, well, hi, I'm Jim, the CEO. You don't know me, but I'm kind of a legit guy, and I want the IP addresses. And okay, you gave us all the right answers and all the information, and we've got those. There's just I think this is still going on because they got the federal court case back, in their favor. So I think the thing is now they're just trying to reclaim them. The good news is we don't have to drop off of IPv4 yet, because now we've got another, 750,000 IP addresses. Yes,
exactly.
There's still time.
When I first read that, I thought it was going to just say like all of DigitalOcean.
Right.
Wow. Like, all right, we can just reuse all those now.
Well, Aaron's, according to this, Aaron's going to stand to make almost $14 million by rehashing out all these IP addresses.
Oh, yeah.
So, and with the lack of IP address range that there is, they could probably make 20 million, I would imagine, by, auctioning off 18s, 19s, and 20s. So,
but a lot of these were purchased seemingly legitimately by the companies that purchased them. What do? Just take the IP address out from under them?
Yeah.
Because it belongs to somebody else officially?
Right. Well, I mean, they were fraudulently paid for and moved, right? So there's there's some additional bits there.
Could you imagine? Just like you're just like on the side hosting with somebody else and all your infrastructure there, and like, oops, sorry.
Yep.
All your IP addresses are now gone.
Yeah. The other thing is, were these, fraudulently collected by, these companies? Were they bought with legit money, or were they just taken using, recently stolen credit card information, or, whatever? So there may be more layers to this fraud than we think, than we know of. So anyway, I'm diligently looking for more information on that. If I find any more updates or anything more recent, then I'll post that into the show notes.
And that's also like that's a lot of money for legal fees as well.
Yeah, they said $350,000 for legal fees.
Buddy.
So these companies, the thing is, do these
I'm
companies?
sure it was teams of lawyers,
Oh yeah. My thing is, do these companies actually have the money to make these payments or reparations?
Good question.
If they live on fraud, then what are they doing? Just using somebody else's credit card to pay for Aaron's legal fees?
Right.
So if they actually have any legitimate money, it's probably been seized by the U.S. government already. So, all right.
So if you've been playing the IP address index fund market, you might want to sell.
Did you short that? I knew something. Yes. All right. So we got one other thing. Ms. Berlin, you were talking about logging issues for Windows.
Yeah. So lately, that's all I've been doing. Is trying to create meaningful alert chains in the software that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not writing the software, just to be clear.
Right.
I have other smarter people doing that. I'm the one. They're kind of like decision trees. So it's like a sim, but it'll be like, oh, if this event happened, and then this one happened, and then this one happened, to do like attack chain alerting.
Right.
And one of the steps in one of the chains I'm working on is scheduled task creation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that everything in Microsoft Create now, like, I don't know what OS this started on, create scheduled tasks. I have probably a list of 10 or 11 different things that will do this. It will create the scheduled task, run it, delete it, and then do it again at another random interval. So
do you have an example of something like that? Would it be like creating a Docker instance, or why would it use a scheduler like that?
I have my big query of all these things pulled up.
Okay.
So certificate services does a bunch, right? They have one that it's the task name is /Microsoft Windows /certificate services client /key pre-gen task.
Right.
All right. That one's constantly creating stuff.
Okay.
There is what else? More certificate services. There's update orchestrator in Windows that does a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
Language component installer. So looking at all of these, most of them are at the /Microsoft /Windows path.
Okay. Right.
But if you negate those, that's kind of leaving like a big open hole for anybody to create, /Microsoft /Windows /totally legit task.
Right.
And and you bypass it, right? So trying to find and when you create a scheduled task in Windows, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different event IDs associated with that, so they can happen at different intervals for different tasks. So I'm trying to actually find a meaningful way to look for scheduled tasks and not have a big gaping hole for the Microsoft directory.
Okay,
so that was my complaint.
That's really, really weird. Yeah.
And I think so. I was talking to a friend of mine about the Windows ATP thing that Microsoft has.
Windows ATP thing.
It's like Microsoft ATP. I don't remember what all it does, but it sounds like it does a whole lot of in-depth stuff. Since they have access to the kernel, they can give you a lot of different alerting on stuff.
Advanced threat protection.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like maybe with those logs, you might be able to see, if the system's creating them, or if a user's creating them, or different paths regarding that. Mm-hmm. But again, you don't want to rely on that type of log to make a meaningful alert.
So we have our logging guru over here, Mr. Betcher, who runs a little application that he develops. You were talking before the show that the scheduler log is kind of special in that regard, right?
Right. Now, if you're not running GPO, which overrides any other changes locally, when Windows does an update, it just decides for you that you don't really need the task scheduler log and just turns it off.
Is it what?
Yeah.
Wait, when does this happen? During just like monthly patch updates?
Pretty much every patch, yes. Whenever it patches, it's like, oh, you got the task scheduler log on? Yeah, I'm just going to turn that off.
I remember trying to figure that out like 5-6 years ago, maybe. Like, what is happening? Like, why does this keep on turning off? Because it was something else too that it was doing every time Windows updated, and then we figured out it was that. But so annoying.
Okay.
So Michael Goff tweets out to Microsoft probably every month. Still turning off that task scheduler log, eh? You know, he berated him a few years ago for that, and every month it's still.
We had him on the show talking about that. That's why I was like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." Yeah, okay.
I could berate them over so much shit that happens in the event log. Because I mean, I never I looked at event log, but I never looked at it. Like when you get into trying to parse all the different XMLs that can vary depending on how you do a certain task. It makes you want to scream.
Wow.
and
there's like
whoever coded it.
Yeah. There's like 15 useful event IDs in the task scheduler that you might look at. And have you ever tried to parse the event logs are pretty consistent, the older ones, but some of the newer ones like PowerShell, it's almost impossible to parse that, right?
Well, they throw the entire PowerShell command into the event.
Yes. And if you've never tried to parse PowerShell logs, then you're probably not doing log management. If you have, you know what a pain in the butt it is to parse PowerShell logs, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, if only there was a tool that parsed it for you.
I use grep. Is that good? Does that work?
Grep.
Echo. I just use Echo.
You're definitely going to need something that's Turing complete, right?
Right.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions on how to help Ms. Berlin with that, that would be helpful. Otherwise,
just constantly that's what I've been working on for the last several months.
Now, when you do run a task, and this may be one reason that Microsoft does it, it runs at a lower priority.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't take up the system resources that would, if the caller itself or the program itself that wanted to run a separate process would take up. So that would take up a lot of resources. So it schedules a task in order to not hose the system for anything. Right. So Windows runs these tasks at a lower priority, and you can build up thousands of tasks, and it will run them when it wants to run them. Right. Whenever, and that's kind of what makes things more efficient. And Microsoft just probably piggybacked certain tasks onto the task scheduler just so you wouldn't even notice a slowdown on your system.
But you know what? Give them some flag that says, but then I'm sure that could be hacked too, right? If you I want to ignore all of the system, like the system, what's the word I'm thinking of? To make it go faster. Events. Like I want to ignore all of those, and you could probably just hack that anyways and say that was you. But
dancing
around,
we
Bryan.
can look into it. Like,
I think Bryan got some happy news.
I do. We'll talk about it after this. I'm sorry. Just a little happy. A little verklempt. So, Mr. Betcher,
anyway,
you said
we may get into task scheduler log some more. What you can do if there's any keys, things that you can key on to say, oh, this is Microsoft doing its thing, or this is something entirely separate. We need to look at this.
Okay.
There's like user context, but you can run as user context if you're attacking too, right? As the system.
Yep. So all the logs are not in a binary format, just the PowerShell logs, or is the scheduler task logs also in a binary type format? Are they easily readable?
Well, all the logs as the file itself are binary.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need some kind of a reader to read them. You have to call an API in Microsoft in order to read
it's it's Excel, but it's shitty XML.
Oh, really?
In my opinion. They could have done better.
Right on. Yeah. Well, maybe they will in the next iteration of Windows.
No, they won't.
Hey.
Don't you have an in at Microsoft? Can't you get?
I know people, but I can't flex that particular network. Okay. Oh, God.
Now that you're a project manager,
I'm kind of
maybe have a little more flack there.
Oh, first you want me to turn in my InfoSec card, and now you want me to like do work for you. I appreciate that. Just remember which side your bread's buttered on, pal. So, all right. No, I know some people there, but I'm not exactly sure if they have anything to do with the logging. They probably go, yeah, we know, we have trouble with it ourselves. Because I know some folks at the MSRC, so I don't know either. Maybe they have some internal tools that they use for poking around at logs, or maybe they employ technology to help them get around that. Could you take those logs and output them to a SIM so that all you'd have to do is keep pushing a GPO to make sure your scheduled task log stays, enabled? That's
what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool. All right.
Like it's our like our product is a SIM.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, any last thoughts or words of confidence or feelings, Mr. Betcher, that you'd like to mention about the logs, and same to Ms. Berlin?
I can't wait to start working on something other than Windows logs.
Well, once you get that down, then they'll go and change it, and then you'll have to start over. So yeah. So. Okay, so I did a little happy dance. I got an email. For those of you who have been listening for the past, 3-4 months, we've been talking about something called Project Hannibal. We talked about it in the last month or so. We're having a conference here in the Seattle area called InfoSec Campout. If you have to ask me what InfoSec Campout is all about in our conference, maybe you need
literally camping out.
Yes. Very good. Yes. Very good. Yes.
Literally.
I know. That's why we put you on the show. You're just incredibly smart and talented.
For our slower guests. Our listeners.
Yeah. So I've been
hosts.
Exactly. And hosts, right. I've been working my network a little bit. Talked to Adam Baldwin, who I think we had him on the show a couple months ago talking about in Node.js dependencies and vulnerabilities and stuff. He thought the camping was a good idea. So one of the people that follow him on Twitter just bought a ticket to camp with us. So I appreciate that. We still have some tickets if you're wanting to camp out. We have, according to the camping slots, because I just added this gentleman to the camping slots, we have RV spots that are available. But we ask that if you're doing an RV that you have at least 2 people in there, because it's kind of weird for a 16-foot RV to have one person in it. So we're asking that if you do have an RV, that it's a minimum of 2 tickets or 2 people to the tickets. If you want to buy 5 tickets and have one RV, then that's all on you. But so we're selling tickets to the conference also, which will be on the day of the 24th, but the camping will be the night of the 23rd, which is the Friday before, and then Saturday night, the 24th, and then you got to get the hell out of Dodge by the 25th by noon. So if you're interested, we're still doing call for papers. We're still doing call for workshops. I'm going to convince Ms. Wendy Knox Everett, to one of our organizers and one of my officers in my nonprofit, our nonprofit, to do a ham radio workshop, perhaps, getting the basic license. So if you're interested in getting your ham radio license, at least to be able to, I don't know the different levels, but it's a basic license. we'll have a workshop and a test, and it's like 6 hours long. So I'm going to try to get her to do that for us. In addition to things like resume review, we're going to have food for people. We're going to kind of keep it campy. So Miss Knox Everett had mentioned s'mores bar. So we're going to have s'mores. We're going to do camp out. We're going to do hamburgers and hot dogs. I thought about a chili cook-off, but maybe in future iterations of this, we'll do a chili cook-off. But if you're interested in submitting a paper, because if you do, speak, you will get a free ticket to camp out. One of our people who's going to be talking about disaster communications. She's a ham radio operator herself, and she's offered to come and do a talk about disaster communications. So she's a ham, and she's very interesting to do. So still looking for sponsors. So if your company wants to donate to a nonprofit that's going to send all of its money directly to the conference and help for other educational initiatives, please reach out or go to www.infosecampout.com. We have fixed the TLS issues between GoDaddy, Cloudflare, and GitHub. We finally fixed the TLS issues. Miss Wendy was pulling her hair out trying to get TLS to work for us. But we still have several slots available for camping. You'll be sharing the campsite. We do have, if you go to our Twitter, InfoSec Campout, you can see some of the pictures that I put up of what the campsite looks like and what we're going to be doing there. So including the barn, I think, where we're going to be having the venue. So it's going to be different. It's not tour camp. We don't want it to be like that. So if you're interested and you want to come and hang out, hit us up. So book club, before we go, Mr. David Sybuck ran a survey in our book club channel asking for a survey of our summer reading program. So the idea is you're going to read a book a month. June is Cult of the Dead Cow. July is Tribe of Hackers, which came out. It's Marcus Carey, and he co-wrote it with someone else. Name escapes me. I apologize. August is going to be The Mastermind, and Cuckoo's Egg is September. So if you're interested in joining our summer reading program, it's not a program, but it's a thing. You get the book, you read the book. The last, I think, week of the month, everybody gets on and talks about the book. That's separate from our regular bi-weekly book club where we just got done, I think, with the Christopher Hadnagy book, Human Hackers. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of good discussion there, a lot of good people doing stuff, book club, sharing ideas and things, which is what we're trying to do, make it a collaborative environment and community for our Slack. So Ms. Berlin, any thoughts about our Slack? How would people join our Slack if they wanted to?
That's a great question. They should DM the Brakesec account on Twitter.
Okay, which is?
At Brakesec.
Yes.
BRAKESEC.
All right, awesome.
Break is spelled correctly.
Right. Yes. And or you can email bds.podcast@gmail.com. So Ms. Berlin, you're doing some interesting work with mental health. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
I have a busy June coming up.
Really?
Very busy June. Yeah. Oh. So I will be speaking at ShowMeCon about mental health in InfoSec.
Yep.
Megan and I are running a village on the same day. She will be running B-Side San Antonio on June 8th.
Okay.
In Texas, and I will be running Layer 8 in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay. Wow.
And I am also going to be in studio on Security Weekly the Thursday before June 8th. So June 6th, I think.
Okay. Doing what? Talking about mental health
hackers, yep.
Awesome. Okay. So that's on June 6th.
I can't remember because it feels like I've not been on the podcast for forever. I got my official 501c3 letter from the IRS.
Nice.
Which, yay! Now we're official.
Good. Why did it take you so long to get yours?
Because we thought we had to go through the full process.
Okay.
Which took me several months to pull together because it ended up being 20 some pages. because the long form 1023, you have to write, you have to basically prove to the government all of these reasons why they should give you your nonprofit status. So it was called a narrative, and my narrative was several pages long, and all of these screenshots of people saying how great the Derby Village was, and just a whole lot of research that I had done put into this, as well as like this 20-something page IRS form.
Wow.
Turns out that, and I got a lawyer, like I wanted to do it correctly. So we got a nonprofit lawyer, and he's the one that told us to fill out all this stuff. And then we fill it all out, send it in, and he's like, oh, well, you're going to be making less than $50,000 a year in donations. So you can just do the easy form, which is one page and like $100, and you can submit it yourself. Yeah. So didn't have to go through any of that. And I spent several months creating this document and filling it out and doing all this stuff for nothing.
So wait, asshole lawyer tells you after the fact, after you've already paid him a ton of money. You could have just used the easy form.
Yeah, we paid him like $3,000.
Do you want me to call him and put him out in the middle of a road so I could silently run him over with my Tesla twice?
Yes.
Because that sounds like very shystery shit right there.
I was not happy.
Oh my gods. Yeah, I was gonna say
and he was very at first he was great because like he got on one of our board meetings and he was answering questions and everything, and he did answer some questions I would have had anyways. Mm-hmm. And we paid him a bunch of money, and then he stopped responding to my emails.
The check cleared, so screw you, hippies.
Yeah, once I finally figured that out, like I had asked him a couple more questions, and I just like, never mind, I already submitted it. So I thought, if I get another bill from him, I am not paying it.
Oh, what an asshole. Yeah, I was going to say, Matt Domko, one of my officers on my nonprofit, was like, yeah, we're not going to make a lot of money ever, probably. So we'll just go ahead and do it this way. And I was like, oh, all right, whatever. Yep. I took the elevator. You took the stairs. So
I did.
Yeah.
I took the stairs and drug a whole bunch of crap behind me.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
That's okay. Now we have it, and our taxes are all done. And
cool.
I guess it takes a bit because I went, as soon as I got it, I went on like Facebook to register as a charity, Amazon Smile, and like all of these other services or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like there's this monthly maybe sync up that they do with the IRS for status. Mm-hmm. And we weren't on there yet. So we have to wait until the IRS syncs up with all these businesses so we can tell them that we're like, even though we have the letter, it doesn't matter. We have to wait.
Right. So long story short, how would people get a hold of you if they wanted to do a village at their conference?
Ooh, lots of different ways. So we have our new website is up, mentalhealthhackers.org, and we have Hackers Health on Twitter or InfoSister on Twitter for me.
Very cool. All right. Mr. Betcher, are you going to be at B-Side San Antonio on the 8th?
No.
Oh.
But I know a couple of people who will be, and that is Megan Roddy and Michael Goff.
That's right.
Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how B-Side San Antonio went in our Slack. So,
I'm super excited about Layer 8. They're the only social engineering conference.
Really?
Like purely social engineering. Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay. Very cool.
They have the one day. I'm kind of sad because I'm doing yoga at the same time. Mm-hmm. But they have an improv course in the beginning before.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, improv helps, right?
Sure.
With social engineering stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So,
gives you a little confidence, and, you learn tactics and techniques to recover when you're on calls or in person or something like that.
Yep.
Wow. That sounds awesome. Yeah. And you said Providence, Rhode Island, right?
Yep, which I am driving to.
Which is why oh my. Okay, that's a long drive through Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's 11 hours for me.
Yeah, oh my. Anyway, yeah, because you're going to be in at Security Weekly in studio. So, All right, cool. Yeah, if you want to see Ms. Berlin on video, check her out on Security Weekly on the 6th. So there you go.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, so yeah. Let me see what else. Thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you for the tip jar. We really appreciate everybody who supports the podcast. With remuneration. It's a labor of love for us. So hours that we're spending on Slack helping people out, or posting audio, or even doing something like helping out with organizing conferences, or just trying to find content, tracking that down takes time and effort, and we appreciate your help in the tip jar, if you will, for doing that. So we have a TeePub where you can go and get a coffee cup made with our logo on it, or Miss Berlin's face, or the Breaking Down Security.
Instead, I've not seen any new ones.
I've got to get one for the conference. I'm going to have one.
I know Leonard has my face on a mug.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have one for our conference. I'll wear that for you.
Perfect.
Because you've got to be here, since you said you were and you weren't. So
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Sorry.
So let me see. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Store, any of your favorite podcast platforms. I use Podcast Addict now, so that's a really good one. Leave us some feedback, because if you can't give it to the tip jar, feel free to give us feedback or leave reviews, positive or otherwise. We do enjoy the criticism, as long as it's positive or helps us improve. So. All right, we've gone on far longer than I expected, so everybody will be back next week, hopefully. If not, well, actually, you may not be back next week, huh, Miss Blinn? You may be driving.
Next week.
Okay.
No, next week, Circle City Con.
Oh, okay. All right,
which
cool.
I'm going to just to visit my friend.
Right.
And then after that is Show Me Con.
Oh, wow.
But that's not on the day we normally record.
That's okay. So, if you're in the Seattle area, I do a local meetup called CSEC East, which is also one of the sponsors of our conference, ironically enough. We're going to be meeting at BJ's Brewhouse in Redmond, near Redmond Town Center. For those of you in the rest of the world that don't know where Redmond or Redmond Town Center is, I apologize. It's a good way for us to get together, break bread, discuss, talk, share stories, get to know one another, networking, that kind of thing. So you can follow us on Twitter at CSEC East, at SEASECEAST, or you can find us on meetup.com and join up. First Wednesday of every month, usually, except... first Wednesday of every month, except for probably July and August. We'll have to move things around because of the conference and Hacker Summer Camp. So, all right, that was it. Everyone, have a great week. Be nice to one another. Take care of yourselves, because you're the only you have. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.